We're so excited to be back with you today. We have an amazing guest that is with us, and we're going to hear her story and her powerful testimony and all the great work she's been doing. We're so glad to have Lady Tindley with us. Please tune in if you are watching us on Facebook Live. Do us a favor and go ahead and share this on your timeline so that your family, friends, colleagues, and networks um, can also be a part of this amazing message. And if you are watching us from LinkedIn, share it with the groups that you're connected to. This is a message that we believe is important for all to hear. We are dealing with mental health and domestic violence today. And this is going to be a very inspiring session. So we're so excited. And if you're joining us through YouTube, we also want to acknowledge you as well. Please tell us who you are. If you're tuning in, you can put it into the chat box or just comment below so that we can acknowledge you. And also shout out to all of our iRaise folks and community members that are watching and supporting us, and to all of our amazing followers that continue to support us. Let's get started. Awesome. Well, I am so happy to be with Lady Tindley, phenomenal woman of grace and a powerful, amazing testimony who is decided to share this space with us. Lady Tindley, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about the opportunity. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And so is it okay now? It's Lady KiKi. Do you want me to call you that just so I know how to, whatever you're comfortable with?
That's fine. I'm comfortable with KiKi. But if you want to call me Lady KiKi, that is fine.
I like Lady KiKi.
Okay.
I love it. Well,
Thank
Lady KiKi is she's the wife of Daryl Tindley, who actually was on with us about a month ago, who shared his story on mental health and faith. And so, Lady KiKi Tindley is going to be sharing her amazing testimony on her story as well as highlighting her book. And I also want to formally recognize her. She is referred to as Lady K or Lady Key. She's the wife of Bishop Designate Daryl Tenley Jr., lead pastor of Kingdom Life Empowerment Ministries. Lady Key, her husband, and their four children currently reside in Eastern North Carolina. So we're kind of neighbors. So she's also an author. She made her debut onto the literacy scene in 2020 with her memoir, Love Heals, Not Hurts. So we're going to talk more about that. KiKi Tindley navigates her way from birth to rebirth as she triumphs over deeply rooted daddy issues, attempted suicide, generational curses, abusive relationships, and so much more. She is a graduate of the Creative Writing Degree program at Full Sail University. KiKi aspires to emerge as a screenwriter and producer as well. Guys, you are looking at the next female Tyler Perry. We already spoken into existence.
Okay.
Lady, yes, Lady KiKi is also an advocate. She's a fierce advocate in an effort to turn her pain into purpose. KiKi became a domestic violence advocate and victim empowerment facilitator in 2021, where she has served several hundreds of survivors of domestic violence and their families by assisting in the legal process of obtaining domestic violence protective orders, obtaining safe housing and other community resources, and facilitating empowerment sessions through STAR, which stands for Survivors Transitioning from Abusive Relationships. It's a program she created to help victims navigate the uncertainties of moving on after not just abuse, but other traumatic experiences. Everyone, formally welcome Lady KiKi Tindley. Thank you so much again for being with us. We are so excited to hear more about your story. Um, can you sort of, I know we read your bio, but there may have been things that you want those that are watching to know about you. Would love to hear that. Tell us a little more about what that, what that is, whatever it is that I may have left out that may not be highlighted in that bio.
Well, that was a lot in the bio. It pretty much almost sums me up. um, the lady part of me, of course, that comes with me being married, what I like to call married to ministry. That is a whole job within itself. We do pastor a growing church, and a lot of our members are millennials. It's never ending. It's fun. I have 4 children with my husband. So there's never a dull moment in our household. Yes, while being a domestic advocate, I'm also the young lady before I started. I work in middle school education with exceptional children. So my days are pretty busy and pretty full. Um, Other than that, that's pretty much the core of who I am. I'm just another one just like you and other viewers that are watching. So the lady, the author, and the advocate. I'm still a woman who I am here to speak to other with myself today.
I love that so much, and you said it with so much clarity. I think also what stands out is that the mother part, and we really didn't get to highlight that much, but being a mom in the midst of all the other great things that you're doing, um, is like just being able to balance that. Would love to know how you do that. We'll jump into that in a little bit, but before we do, I actually wanted to highlight the fact that you did write a book. You are an author, and the book is based on your own story and your own testimony, and very simple, like you said, of being a woman and wanting women to know that story and to know what it's like to go through some traumatic experiences, but to be able to rise above and to come out and to turn that pain into purpose. I'd love for you to share any parts of your testimony that was highlighted in your book, Love Heals, Not Hurts.
Absolutely. So I do have the book here. Love Heals Not Hurts. Love Heals Not Hurts. It is my memoir and testimony. I was inspired to write it simply because up until me writing the book, I hadn't really shared my story with anyone. Um, and I will say that writing the book actually, I can't say that I was fully healed until I actually wrote everything out. And when I tell you that it was a very tumultuous process, it was. It wasn't even the writing itself or the, putting the book together or anything like that. Thanks to the great team that I had, we got through that part easy. It was actually having to go back and relive that stuff just to get it all out. From childhood right on up to when I met my husband, there were some times where I actually had to take a few steps back, take a break, and just decompress because some of the things that I've gone through, it was really traumatic. Starting from the beginning, my first experience with domestic violence wasn't even an experience of my own. I was a child, probably about 5, maybe. And my mother was in what I didn't know that it was an abusive relationship at the time until one night where I actually just happened to wake up and hear noise on the other side of the door. I wasn't really sure what was happening, and I do talk about this in my book. But I cracked the door just enough to see my mom being pretty much beat up by her husband, which is my brother's dad. And that's something as a child that you just don't ever forget. I still remember. I remember the next day her being like really swollen and everything, and my aunt having to come and be with me and my brother. I think my mom had gone to the hospital and everything to get, treatment. And I just remember my aunt just saying that mommy was tired and she didn't really go. I remember what I saw, but of course my aunt didn't. She didn't want to tell me what exactly had happened. Um, so when I got older, they say that things like that can be hereditary and generational and stuff like that, because when you see it being accepted or happening as a child, you tend to think that it's okay, that it's normal. My own father was absent as I was growing up, so there was always this void there. Him and my mother, they they separated and divorced when I was a baby. I think I was like 2. So I've always had this void, especially once my mom finally divorced the abusive husband. There was this void. There wasn't a male figure in the house. There wasn't a father figure. It was just me, my mom, and my brother. So there was always this longing for that attention and that affirmation and acceptance. So once I began to grow older, like in middle school and high school, I found myself what they call looking for love in all the wrong places. So accepting things that might not be healthy, just to say that I'm not by myself, um,
Mm.
was really the thing that I believe drove me into the arms of my abuser. In my book, I don't even acknowledge his name. He is referred to as him, and he, and it's not so much that I'm covering his identity. It's not that at all. It's honestly because I don't feel like he deserves to even be named. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna give him that much power. So he's him. But I also, in my acknowledgments in the back, I thank him for the things that he put me through, because it was going through those things that allowed me to become the woman that I am now. Another part of that violence aspect, it didn't just affect me, if it affected my mom as well, dealing with things that from her own childhood, and then dealing with the domestic violence caused her to have her own battle with mental health issues, bipolar, post-traumatic stress, and all of that. So here I am as a young young Black female, being raised by a single mom who battles issues with bipolar, post-traumatic stress, which also led to drug addiction. That was the turning point in my life, the whole drug addiction aspect, because of her drug addiction, as that was her coping mechanism with her own battles with domestic violence, with her own battles with mental health. Um, that is actually how I met the guy that would go on to abuse me, and it did not start out that way. Um, it didn't start out as abuse. It started out, what I like to say, in a form of manipulation. Um, he knew the situation that my mother would leave my brother and myself in. So he would appear as someone that was stepping in to help me and my brother. Back then, I was 18 at the time. Well, about to be 18. Um, my mom did her own things. It left me fend for ourselves, so to speak. So this guy comes in, basically making sure that we're taken care of and everything like that, until I was able to get on my own. He even helped me get an apartment on my own for me and my brother. And then he suddenly gets locked up, and I don't see him for a while. But by then I'm working, and I'm able to, years go by, and I don't see this guy. And I do. He starts writing to me from jail. And that I got. He was basically, checking on me to see how I was doing. But then the way he ended it, it was something basically like he felt like I at least he deserved a chance after everything that he had done for me. So while I had no attraction to him whatsoever. Me being quote unquote a good-hearted person that I thought I was, I said, okay, yeah, I guess I do owe him, which is actually a title of one of the chapters, I Owe You. Me feeling guilty, like I owe this guy a chance. When he did come home, I gave him an opportunity to be in a relationship with me. And at first, it was like that, that kind of puppy love kind of thing, all the time together and stuff like that, until I start to notice little things like if I don't answer his phone calls in time, he would just show up at my house. If he saw me speaking to, if someone would speak to me out and I speak back, who was that? Like being overprotective, possessive, and things like that. Those were the first early signs that maybe it was just he was dealing with, he like maybe, I don't know, just loved me a lot and he was just trying to make sure he didn't lose me. I don't know, but the signs that I definitely missed, they were red flags in the beginning and I didn't notice them. So it would get to the point where I would go to like my friend's house, and when I come back, I would be questioned. Where were you? Why were you gone? So like being accused of being places that I wasn't, being accused of doing things that I wasn't doing, until the point where he actually started popping up over my friend's house and things like that. I finally, the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. I had locked myself out of my apartment. And all of this, again, is in my book. I locked myself out of my apartment, not on purpose, of course, with my keys in the house. And I was staying in an apartment complex that, of course, the office was closed on Sundays. So I had to call an emergency number to get a maintenance worker to come out and unlock my door. So I called him on the phone, not the maintenance guy, but I called him, let him know I locked myself out. I'm waiting for maintenance to come unlock the door. So by the time got there and unlocked the door, he, my boyfriend at the time, he was pulling up in the car. It was summertime outside. I remember, I think, having on like a spaghetti strap top or something with jeans and sandals, something like that. He told me, I remember him telling me that I locked myself out on purpose, which is the craziest thing. Who does that when it's hot outside? That I just wanted attention. It was the weirdest thing. But anyway, he would say stuff like that. So I'm like, that's not true. He didn't like my answer. He walked in the house behind me as I had my keys. And we used to have this thing of CDs. I don't know if you're familiar. Circular, for people that like do videos and burn CDs, like this cylinder thing that all these CDs stack up on. Well, he took that cylinder. He started taking CDs and just throwing them at me. Mind you, my arms are exposed, my face is exposed, all of this is exposed. So he's throwing these CDs at me, and as he's hitting me with these CDs, they're cutting my face. I put my hands in, they're cutting my hands. I was just, and he left. He walked out the door. So being left to look in the mirror, see my face cut up like it was, see my hands cut up like they were. I think that's when reality. Okay. So I do remember trying to leave him a couple of times in the heat of like arguments and stuff, but it would never work. It would never work. I had my locks changed and everything, and I woke up to him standing over me. He climbed through my kitchen window somehow. I guess it was never locked. So he in my kitchen window. I found out later that's how he got in, and was standing over me. When I went to go, I screamed. I do remember screaming. He ran down the steps and out of the house. I called the police because they can't see any signs of forced entry. They don't really. They did have someone patrol my area that night, but it took me the next day to go to the store. I was feeling sick, so I was on my way to the drugstore. And I noticed my screen to my kitchen window down, and that's how I knew how he had got it. He got it through my kitchen window. Long story short, I was feeling bad because I found out I was pregnant later on that day, just to make matters worse. So here I am, trapped in an abusive relationship, which clearly doesn't deserve to be in a relationship with me, doesn't care anything about me because he's abusing me. Pregnant, trying to figure out, Lord, what am I going to do? Literally, Lord, what am I going to do? As crazy as this is going to sound, I thank God that not long after that, after having another physical altercation with him, to be literally all nights in my cousin's apartment where he just popped talking to him or taking his calls. She let in, and things got really bad. That's highlighted in my book as well. I end up having a miscarriage. So I believe, I look at it as that was God's way of delivering me from that situation. As bad as that sounds, it was for me, because I no longer had interest to him. And I think I called the police that day, and they came. I wanted a restraining order. This is what led me to the whole advocacy thing. So I'm tying it up here. I wanted a restraining order, but they told me that in order for me to get a restraining order, I would have to. They were more interested for drugs and stuff, or for like help me. So I would have to be like an informant for them. I would have to stay. I had a daughter at home, and a full-time job. I couldn't afford to just go stay in a safe house. This is how misinformed they were, because as I eventually became an advocate myself, I found out that wasn't a process at all. I could have gotten a restraining order immediately, but they didn't know that. Properly educated, and there wasn't a great connection with the local domestic violence agency and law enforcement. They didn't have that relationship forged at the time to give that information to victims. So I'm grateful that I eventually went on to seek that information for myself, and I was able to break free of him. Somehow, some way, I just didn't see him anymore for years and years. By the time I met my husband, I was so broken that I didn't even believe that I deserved a good relationship. My husband wasn't a bad. He but we did. Him and his family ended up moving down here to North Carolina, and we were attending the same church. I remember locking eyes with him for the time. It wasn't a romantic kind of thing, just like this weird feeling I never felt before. And I looked away really quickly. I was like, Lord, I don't know what that was, but I'm sorry. I didn't want to be, I was in church when I saw him. And he was on the keyboard, and I'm sitting in the conversation. I look up, and his big eyes are staring back at me, and then I feel the thing in my stomach. And I'm just like, what that was, Lord. Aww. But if it was, I'm sorry. I just so later on, I found out
that was love.
Him being, I didn't know it then. He was just really nice. He would always make sure that me and my kid got to the car safely. I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to a gentleman. He would give me subtle compliments on my hair and stuff. And I just thinking like me? It's like, yeah, you. And then one day I happened to miss Bible study. And I had to work a double shift. And I remember getting home later that night and getting a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. And I answered the phone, Sister KiKi. And I said, yes, this is KiKi. Who is this? It was like, this is Brother DJ. And I was like, okay, Brother DJ. Yeah, okay. It was like, well, I noticed that you weren't in Bible study today, and I just wanted to check to see if everything was okay. And when that
Oh.
happens, I was like, wow, he noticed. Like somebody's me. And I didn't have to give him any of my time or anything. The rest is literally history. I remember going to work talking about it. Friend, I was telling this lady that I called a mom. She was like my work mom, and I was telling her how great I thought he was and everything. But I was like, yeah, he would never, really like somebody like me. So I started trying to hook him up with other people, like girls
Mm.
at work that I thought were more qualified to be with him. And I
Mm.
introduced him in viruses and stuff. And he was just like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And, none of it. So finally, my work mom, was like, you're going to end up giving your husband away. And I was like, my husband? She was like,
Mm.
keep right on. You're going to give your husband away. And I was like, I don't even think he likes me like that. And then she said, well, you won't know unless you ask. I was like, that is so elementary. So I literally text him. I went back to that number that I didn't recognize. And I said, hey, this is Sister KiKi. Sister KiKi. Um, I have a question. And I just asked her, I was like, do you like me? You remember the letters you write in school? Do you like me? Yes or no?
Yes,
I was
no,
like,
maybe.
do you like me? Yeah. Do you like me? And he sent back yes. And I was like, yes as in like a friend or yes
Oh,
as in like more? And he was like more. And so the rest is history. We've been together ever since.
I
Ever since.
love
But
that. I love that.
because I'd been abused and just broke down mentally and emotionally, I really didn't think I deserved a good relationship. I didn't.
Mm.
Um, and I know I just rambled and rambled and rambled. So
No,
please feel free
you're
to
not
jump
rebel.
in and just ask me whatever you want. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. No, everyone watching, including myself, is beyond inspired to hear your story. Can I tell you, you look like nothing that you've been through. Just
Oh,
absolutely
to God be the
gorgeous.
glory.
And yes, and no one would be able to tell on the outward, right? You look so put together and just, very poised and
Wow.
beautiful. And you can't see, right? A
Thank
lot of times that's, I think what it looks like when you're able to take pain and turn it into purpose. And you are literally the prime example of what that looks like. And so your story just
you.
you're first of all, you're such a storyteller, you're an author storyteller. So hearing your story, I was able to visualize a lot of the things that you said. And I think just connecting with you on so many levels as a woman. Um, and I think other women that are listening, connecting to parts of your story that are relevant to their lives as well. The childhood trauma, very similar, dealt with it to Lady Tindley. I don't really tell my story as much, but one day I will. Childhood trauma, going through
Me
domestic
too.
violence when you're a kid, experiencing that for the first time as a child and seeing that, and then how that opened the door for you to sort of your guards to be down when that man did come into your life, and that there were red flags that you talked about that you didn't necessarily pay attention to, like the manipulation. It always starts very innocently. We say things like, he loves me, that's why he's overprotective. He loves me, that's why he's acting like this, and we blame it on love. But in reality, love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't look like that. Love heals, not
Yeah.
hurts, right? The name of your book. And so it's so
Yes.
powerful how you were able to depict through time the process and the trajectory of your life in terms of this particular, from childhood to relationship. And I think some of the things that I actually wrote down as you were speaking that just jumped out to me was the accusation. So one of the signs of domestic violence and to look out for is when you're being consistently accused in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, especially when you have not done anything, right? Um,
Right.
use manipulation, right? Use manipulation, being held hostage. Those were other things that I heard you mention, Lady Tenley. And then also, just being very overbearing in terms of not being able to hang out with your friends. And if it happens, sort of stalking you, climbing through windows, and all these things that are just so unhealthy, and that played with played on your mind and messed with you. Just all of the things, and then just throwing things, hitting you, the physical abuse as well. Going through all of that, but yet in all of that, you said you knew there was it hit you. Reality really set in for you during the time that he was hitting you with those CDs, but you didn't leave yet. So there is I don't remember the average number, but there's a number of times that a person actually leaves abusive relationship
Seven.
before they actually leave. What's that number?
Seven.
7. I
The
thought
number
so.
of completion.
I thought so. That was in my head, right? So you actually leave abusive
Mm.
relationships 7 times before you actually leave it. So you knew, okay, I got to get out of this. And you even depicted it. You said, in arguments, in the heat of arguments, I wanted to leave, but
Mhm.
somehow I would end up staying. What was it like? What were the things for you that you feel like were such barriers to you leaving that relationship that made you stay longer?
A lot of my barriers, or some of the reasons that I
Mhm.
stayed, are much like many of the victims that I've had the privilege of serving. Financial reasons. Like I stated, I was a single mom at the time, and he, while I had my own income from my own job, he still supplemented a lot of that.
Mhm.
So I was thinking about the point of having to start over, the inconvenience of starting over, the inconvenience of, not having the extra money, which is a stupid reason, hindsight. But in the moment, when you're thinking about how is this going to get paid and that going to be paid, it gives you more of a reason to stay when you don't know better. Also, just the dealing with what will people think? What will people think if they find out? Um, just my daughter, I was thinking about, yeah, it wasn't good to have her around that. She learned at the age of 3 how to run down the stairs to the neighbor's house and call 911.
Mhm.
I had to train her while he wasn't home, because he
Mm.
had a tendency of taking my phone and throwing it, or taking my phone, and so I couldn't get to it when I would try to call for help. So while he wasn't there, I used to have to tell her, if you ever hear mommy and him yelling, or you hear mommy screaming, or you hear mommy say, give me my phone, or something like that, I need you to run down the step, out the door, across the sidewalk, and say, hey, I need you to call 911. My mommy needs help. And she knew how to do that at the age of 3,
Mm.
because there were times where he didn't care that she was in the room. And he on multiple occasions, he would say, well, if you want to get your A beat in front of your daughter, that's on you. And
Mm.
there were times where I just didn't know. I feel like I'm really blessed to have made it out. And I say that because over this guy now, not back then, but he has done time for attempted murder, and he is currently awaiting trial for murder.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I can only, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That is a
Um,
testament right there. You got out when the right
I
time,
did,
the
I
right and
did. But
that go ahead. I'm sorry.
let me tell you how God works. That scripture in Psalms 23, where it says that the Lord He'll prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Um, it is so true. The work that I did as an advocate allowed me to be at the courthouse all the time, multiple times a week. One morning, I was at the courthouse waiting on a client, and she just happened to be running late. So instead of going upstairs to the courtroom, I decided to wait downstairs for her, um, outside of the clerk's office. And as I was waiting, he walked by me. And yes, he had on a mask, and I had on a mask,
Mm.
but I know the eyes. He
Mhm.
walked by me, and he went to take care of whatever he had to take care of. A few moments later, he walked back. He was on his way to walk back by me, and out of nowhere, a sheriff, a local police officer, and a U.S. Marshal stormed him and arrested him in front of me for murder. I saw him get arrested for
Wow.
murder. And it's nothing that I was looking for.
This is
Had
something
no
you
idea he
actively
was
witnessed.
something that I witnessed. He was feet away from me and I could
Wow.
not believe it.
Mm-mm-mm.
But you know what I did? In that moment, I prayed for him. He didn't know I was praying for him, but I also picked up my phone and called his sister.
Mm.
Me and her are classmates. We went to school together. I didn't have to tell anybody, any of his family. I could have just let them wonder where he was.
Mhm.
But I picked up my phone and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you. Haven't talked to her in years. Hey, I'm sorry to bother you. I just want you to know that your brother just got arrested. You might need to head on down to the courthouse, to the
Wow.
jail, to see what's going on with him."
Mm.
Yeah, and I later on found
Mm.
out that it was for murder. And I'm just like, my God, it wasn't anything I was looking for. I don't get joy in
Mm.
knowing that he got arrested for something so horrible. But it's just that vengeance is mine, said the Lord.
I will repay.
So,
That's right.
yeah.
And so many people want that vengeance, right? They actively seek for vengeance after being in abusive relationships. But the fact that you took a posture of prayer, even in the midst of seeing the man that abused you be arrested, is a testament to your character, Lady Tindley. That is quite a moving story that I have never heard. Um, and that, that just spoke so many volumes, that you were able to see that, and in your face you witnessed it actively. It was almost like the reminder of, look, you don't have to fight, you don't have to yell, you don't have to bad mouth or any of that. I'm taking care of this. And it's such
Yes.
a comfort, especially to those that may be in a situation and may feel like, I've gone through domestic violence, he's gotten away with it. No, it won't. There is no such thing. That person will definitely be held accountable for their actions.
Mhm.
You talked about the him,
Absolutely.
which is the abuser, versus the husband, which is your husband that you're with.
I
I
love that.
want to know if you can sort of provide a distinction between the two. And I know there's like, there is no such thing, but what are some of the things that were very different for your husband that you knew this is real love? And distinguish that from the things that you misconstrued as real love with him.
Well, to be able to do that, well, it's like defining versus unhealthy relationships. Of course, with the unhealthy relationship, it was there was the possessiveness there, the insecurity, the betrayal, isolation. He would isolate me from my friends, my family, the manipulation, um, just making me feel guilty about things, just belittling me, calling me names, making me feel like nobody's gonna ever, want me, um, because I wasn't anything. He would say stuff like that to me. Where on the other hand, my husband, um, dating him, he was always kind and gentle. He was always a gentleman. Like I said, I wasn't used to anybody opening doors for me, walking. If I don't show up somewhere, calling to make sure I'm okay. Um, oh, happened. All right. I think I
That's
got a phone
okay.
call. Can you still hear me? I don't know
We
what happened.
can.
But
Still with us.
yeah. I don't know how my phone's not even near me. It's over there. It's connected to my computer. I'm sorry. But
No,
can you hear me good?
we can.
You can hear me good still?
Yes.
Okay. So basically I think I was talking about with my husband, him being kind and gentle, a gentleman. Like I said, I wasn't used to anybody opening doors or giving me random compliments and genuinely meaning it. My husband took the time to learn me, my likes, my dislikes.
Mm.
He wanted to know about those ugly parts of me. That's the thing that I say love does. Love cares about your good, your bad, and your ugly. And it doesn't run from your bad or your ugly. What it does is it takes the time to love you through and past that.
Mm.
Um, He didn't want me to take those ugly parts of me, those bad parts of my past, and just throw them away. He wanted to love me in such a way that it would help me heal from that. And it took being with somebody that wasn't intimidated by my colorful past.
Mhm.
Because compared to my husband, sitting me beside my husband, you're looking at like uh, the sun and the moon. It's like
Mhm.
day and night. So like when I say that I did not feel worthy to have somebody that I felt like, I mean, no, he wasn't perfect, but honestly, when I met my husband and when I met his mom and his family, I actually thought about like, the Cosby Show with the mom, Claire Huxtable, stuff like that. Like it just seemed like the perfect family, and so I really felt and equipped going into that relationship. I just didn't feel like I measured up, but the love my husband had for me helped me to gain confidence. And when I wanted to know why me, his question was why not you, you know. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
amazing.
so that's really
That
yeah,
is love.
it
That is
does.
love. I mean, you depicted that so well, Lady Tinley, for those that are confused. That is
Quickly.
love. It's unconditional. It's loving you through your flaws, loving you through your bad, not being intimidated by what you went through and by your past, and being able to give you that confidence and reminding you that you are the only one. There is none. Why not you? It's gentle, it's kind, it does not hurt. And that is just the prime example of what love is, Lady Tinley. Thank you for sharing that. For those that are listening and that are in relationships and you're trying to sort of measure, does this man love me or does this person love me? Hey, that we gave you a
Mm,
checklist.
that's
Anything
right.
else
If
you
it
want
builds you up, yes. If it builds you up and it doesn't tear, if it builds you up and doesn't tear you down, then it might be love. Now, if it tears you down versus builds you up, then it's definitely not love. If it takes from you more than it deposits in you, then that's not love. Because love deposits, it adds to. It's like an accessory. It's not something that takes from you. It's not going to constantly pull and drain you. It's going to pour into you. So you need to ask yourself, hey, is this building me up or is it tearing me down? Is this adding to me or is it taking away from me? Is this making me feel good and happy or is this making me feel sad and miserable? Um,
to?
am I questioning my worth by being with this person? Or does this person make me feel like I'm somebody even when I don't feel like I'm somebody? Those
Mm,
are some really valid questions that you need to be asking yourself.
thank
Can
you.
you see me? Like my screen is frozen. Am I
Yeah,
frozen to you?
we can see you, and you're giving us some amazing.
I'm moving.
Yeah, you're moving. You're
Oh,
moving,
I'm
and
I'm not moving on. Like I see me. I see me frozen. But okay, as long as you
no,
can see me.
you are perfect. We can see you, you're moving, and you're also giving us really amazing tips here. So, you gave us some great things to weigh in the balance in your relationship. If you're wondering whether it's love, are you being built up or are you being torn down? Do you feel more confident? Does that person make you feel good about yourself, or do they make you feel bad? All these things that um are just so essential and weighing the relationship that you're in. Lady Tinley, is just, I hope those tips are in your book. If not, we definitely gotta do a
Nah, but I got some more stuff coming.
got some more things in the works.
I'm working
Okay.
on some more.
Yes, I love it. And I don't know if you have a women's ministry or if you're working with women, how women may be able to reach you or get in touch with you if they want to hear more about your story or just may want to be connected to resources or to help. Can you share anything that you are working on or that you have available?
Right now, I'm really just available with my Facebook page. I don't have like a concrete women ministry going on at the moment, but there is something that I don't really want to talk about it too much right now because I
Mhm.
am I am working on
Working on it.
something that I'm going to be probably launching really soon.
Awesome.
Um, that I think is going to be really helpful. Most of the things that I do it won't really be like my husband. He's the pastor, he's the preacher, and all of that. I'm gonna talk to you. We're gonna have some real conversations, some
Mhm.
transparent moments.
Oh, I think Lady Tinley may have falling off by accident. While she is preparing to come back on, you can actually get a copy of her book, Love Heals Not Hurts. There she is on Amazon.
I have it.
I was just
It
sharing
doesn't like me.
your it loves you. This software here is it's a challenge. This is the remote world that we're trying to navigate through, but you're doing absolutely fine. I wanted you to finish off what you said, if you don't mind,
Okay.
and then also where we can find and buy your book.
Okay. Yeah. So I was basically just that the type of ministry that I do plan to have is going to be it's not just going to be catered to people that are in church because I feel like that I'm called to people outside, you know.
That's right. I get that.
Um I just like I want to talk to the person. I don't want to talk to your representative. I don't want to talk to the church you. I want to talk to the real you. Because in order to, I believe that transparency heals, and the only way to do that is to like have some real laid back conversations, like we're doing right now. I
Yeah.
like this space. Thank you for the opportunity. As far as my book, it is available on Amazon. I keep copies on hand for anybody that might be local, but it's definitely available on Amazon.
Thank you so much, Lady Tilly. So those that I encourage you, and I'm also going to be getting my copy today. I'm going to be ordering my copy, and I'll probably just order it for a few other women as well. But please support Lady Tilly's book, a powerful, amazing, inspiring testimony. She's a woman on the move, doing great work, fierce advocate for women all over, and working on amazing projects. Again, her book, Love Heals Not Hurt, is available on Amazon.com. Definitely do go check it out and support it. We might even need to have like a little author conversation after I get through the book, Lady Tinley. But it's a blessing to be able to connect with you, to share this space with you, to hear your testimony and your story. And I know that all women that are listening all over are blessed and are inspired and motivated, and empowered to know that they too can take their pain and they can turn it into purpose. You're a prime example of that. And we appreciate you sharing your story and just being bold enough to be transparent. Transparency requires boldness. Vulnerability requires boldness. And you've been able to display that and to give us that. And we are so appreciative of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You. And if there's one piece of advice you like to leave women that are listening now, I know you give a lot of amazing tips, but any last words that you want to leave those that are listening, we'd love to hear that as well.
Hmm. If I had to leave you with one piece of advice, I guess that I would just say you deserve more. We as women, we don't, we shortchange ourselves a lot. Um, and we deserve so much more than what we settle for. So don't settle just for the sake of being with somebody in a relationship. Make your list and stick to it. I'm telling you, it works. It's real. I did. I made a list. People don't believe me when I say that, but I
Love
did.
it.
I made a list, and Mr. Tinley satisfied that list.
Yes, that's a great way to end.
Even though
We
I didn't think I deserved the list, I made it anyway.
You look, you deserve that list. You deserve it. You just said we deserve more. You deserved it and deserve it. And we are all deserving of living our happy and our best lives and being loved. We're deserving of love. We deserve to be loved. We
Yes.
deserve to be respected. We deserve to be cared for, accepted, celebrated. We deserve to be treated like the queens that we are. And you reminded us of that today. So that was something that we needed to hear. Thank you so much for that. We might need to have another
Thank
party. It's going to be called Make Your List Party. So I'm already creating things. So
you. Okay.
we're gonna have a make your
Yes.
list party. We're gonna make our list. I love it. Just because I think women need to be able to, men and women need to be able to do that to really understand what you actually need and what you deserve. And when you see that on
Yeah.
paper, now you be able to, when you put things in writing, you writing the vision down. Now you're giving got something to work with. So I love that.
Mhm.
Lady Tilly, we could be on here for hours, but we are over time. So
Okay.
we're gonna
Okay.
end now.
It's
But
my
I
fault. I'm
appreciate.
sorry.
No, oh my goodness, don't be sorry. I enjoyed this space with you, and I know those that are watching also enjoyed listening to your testimony, listening to your story. I'm seeing some people say, I need an autographed copy of that book, and you have a
Aw,
powerful story. Thank you so much, Lady
thank
Tinley. We
you.
want to have you back again, hopefully. And then you and I, we're definitely going to connect after this. Thank you all for watching and for tuning in. Please, again, share this message out. We want to get the word out to continue empowering women in honor of Domestic Violence Month. We have another segment for you planned on this Thursday, and we're looking forward to hosting our next Fireside Chat. Until then, check out the Fireside Chats that you may have missed. Please listen to it. They're inspiring, they're motivating, and they are empowering. We want to continue spreading this amazing message and helping as many people as we can to live their best, most healthy, and successful lives. Thank you all for tuning in, for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you, Lady Tilly. Thank you all.